Somebody who develops a program has to have clarity of purpose. They have to be focused. You have to be able to measure it. Right? You could do good, but if you can't measure it, how do you know how much good you did? And we're very big on measurement at ICN. It has to be impactful. It has to be big, however you define big. It could be big in your community, it could be big in your area of expertise, but it has to be impactful the way you define it. And I think that the final, and I'm very big on this last point, is CSR has to be pervasive within your company. I personally dislike active CSR programs that are purely the domain of the foundation. If you are XYZ company and XYZ Foundation has a successful CSR program, but XYZ employees, senior management aren't even involved in it, I consider that failure. Corporate social responsibility is the responsibility of every single employee. And I've said all this because I'm not a judge, so I can tell you what my criteria is, but certainly if I had any way of convincing judges to think about this, I would try to measure that. How pervasive is the CSR effort within that particular company? It could be highly successful on the outside, but if you're not changing the lives of your own employees, then I think it's still not successful.
That's a good one. And I can tell you, well, Alan Coe of PwC, I don't know if he's able, but yes, this is, right, we go through this a lot, and that is one of the focuses in the criteria is employees involvement and at all levels and so forth. Yes.
Okay, a follow-up question for Saitel. What's your observation of the changes in the level of customer service in the Philippines from the early 2000s to today?
Well, I think it's matured significantly. In the early days of the development of the IT BPM industry in the Philippines, you had a very small group of management and executives that had experience in this space, and many of them were imports. They may be Filipino, but they worked overseas and come back. And I think what we've seen is that the one of the true gifts of that exists within the Philippines and Filipino people is this culture of service. So there's already this very strong service culture that exists here, but I think it's taken a good 15 to 20 years to mature that experience. And so today, I can say honestly, and I think if you ask anyone that works within our business or works in any service business, the level of service quality of our Filipino employees actually exceeds by many measures what we're seeing in other markets like the U.S., the U.K., Australia, New Zealand, even India. We see consistently that when comparing voice of the customer satisfaction scores, NPS, etc., the Philippines centers and employees really rate in the top quartile. And I think it's just it's a great testament to the fact that this environment now is actually quite mature, high quality, and it's why I'm still extremely bullish. And at Saitel, we're hiring like crazy right now. And if I could just make one other point here, which I think is really critical, because it wouldn't be a Asia CEO event if I didn't make this one plea. It's all about countryside development. And so the other big advantage that has happened is that the talent is not just in Metro Manila anymore. The talent now is all over the country. And so we are seeing this explosion of many tier 2 and tier 3 cities, those that were referred to as next wave cities, that now are also operating at a very high level of quality because we are seeing the investments going into the countryside. We just need to keep doing that.
If I could take more from what Craig just said, because with this event, this is one of our things too that we want to really focus on is the provincial locations isn't the right word, but spreading it across the country. They're coming, but in your own organizations, if you can help us to promote the event, in Davao, Cebu, or we're getting nominations, but not as many as we would like. Naturally, we want to, and like Craig says, there's so much opportunity across country. So work on that, and as well, what Javi also and I talked about was small and mid-sized companies and entrepreneurs. Often they're kind of timid, or they're maybe they don't feel comfortable with their documentation. That PwC, they're pretty strict these days on what's submitted. It has to be credible. But if we can promote these things, because this is where the event is meant to promote these companies, our sponsors, and the people, the nominations. So I don't want to take over. I know I'm getting my thing, but could we just? And Craig is very bullish on the economy, so we have such a diverse group. Could we go through each one and just say, what do you think about the economy and so forth? Is it a good story, or you hear this inflation and all these concerns, drug wars? What do you see overall? Is it a positive story, or is there some concerns? What's everybody think? More than one word.
Well, there is definitely some cause for concern. But again, when you look at the numbers on the SMEs, the companies and the large enterprise, we're still all fundamentally sound and still growing and doing good. So it's just really a matter of some of our political leaders to keep things stable. And I think we are still in the region, the Philippines, a place to invest and grow.
It's more fun in the Philippines. I actually don't want to be anyplace else.
That's true.
Well, the two key issues right now of concern is obviously the depreciation of the peso relative, especially to the US dollar, and the other issue is inflation. But I think it is a natural balance that has been created as a result, and very predictably so, of not least build. And I'm very also optimistic and even bullish in my forecast for our own company and investments on that note.
Well, I'm very optimistic. The positive outweighs the negative. I'm sure there are a lot of concerns. The industries are growing. The banking industry is growing 11%, retail industry growing 9%. The BPO industry, though single digit this year, they forecast that it will grow double digit again next year, and hopefully $40 billion industry by 2020. And PLDT is expanding. We're putting up our facilities across the country. And the government is on spending spree. So they're spending a lot of, they have more than 7 trillion of budget by 2021. So really significant. So there's a build program that will help create infrastructure that will support the growth that we're seeing from so many industries. So I see a lot of positive things that will happen, and plus the fact that we have a tech-savvy millennials or workforce. So we have all of the ingredients. It's the right equation. So I'm sure that the Philippines will go far, and we will be proud in the next few years.
The Filipinos cannot be separated from the economy of the country. When I think about Filipinos, I think about our resiliency. And even if we're low now in terms of economy because of the inflation, if we're down, there's no way but up. So yes, I'm optimistic about the Philippine economy.
Optimistic, taking 1 or 2 points. Regional growth is that we're touring a lot of potential prospects outside Metro Manila, and I think there is a strong belief that the infrastructure will improve, that the Build program will have an impact other area than Metro Manila or Davao or Cebu. This is one. Workforce. I come from a country where English is not the first language, and I come from a country where we are behind on the technology side and the customer service side. Keep doing the same. There are micro indicators. I think they were there 20, 30, 40 years ago. It has not prevented the country to grow, and I don't think so this will stop the country to grow. Saying that, we need to be a bit more careful in navigating some of the obstacles.
From an employment point of view, at any given time we see 55,000 jobs, unique positions that are posted in the Philippines online, and that's only online advertised positions. And for about 20% of those positions, they're hiring multiple headcount for one position, particularly for the high volume employers. So from an employment point of view, it's growing, continues to grow. I do want to kind of see one area in which I think it's both an opportunity and a risk, and perhaps a solution. I know it's more than a word. It's the area of technical skills. These skills change very fast from a month to month. And what we're seeing right now is that companies need to adapt towards actually being able to screen for the foundations, but also to train. Because what we see in the state that many companies make over and over again is that they're looking for people with experience in a particular technology, whether it's a coding framework or a specific kind of area. But the school system will never catch up to the speed at which technology will change. Like PHP was in vogue 3 years ago, Ruby on Rails 2 years ago, now it's React.js, so it just mattered for years. So I think that one of the key things to keep an agile workforce, a more productive workforce going, is that companies need to think about their learning and development strategy, not one for the sake of their own company, but then also for the development of the workforce as a whole.
Well, our industry is expected to grow, the BPO industry. It may not be as fast as the previous years, but it will still grow. Our company also is in that same trend. Having said that positive thing, there are also concerns because of the effects of trade war that has affected many of the companies, and also the uncertainties that are brought about by trade 2, the Trabajo bill that's now being discussed in the lower house and certainly in the Senate. So there is an industry-wide concern about changes in the incentives regime. This is something that we hope will not significantly affect the industry. So we are trying to make sure that the proper parties hear the plea of the industry to make sure that our projection for the industry of growing by 100,000 jobs a year will continue to happen, and that the position of the Philippines in the global BPO map